Okay, imagine this, a vacation where you never check a clock, you never wait in a line, and every single meal is exactly what you were craving, even if you didn't know you were craving it yet. Now, this isn't science fiction. This is the very near future of travel, and it's all being designed by an invisible architect, artificial intelligence. So, how does it all work? And what's it going to mean for us? Let's dive in. You know, the father of system dynamics, J. Wright Forrester, had this great line. He said that we all navigate the world using these mental models in our head, basically simplified maps of reality. Well, AI is now doing the exact same thing, but for your vacation. It's building a model not of the world, but of your perfect trip. That totally seamless experience, the one where your flight is never delayed and your luggage somehow beats you to the hotel, that's not a coincidence. It's the result of AI quietly taking over every single piece of the travel puzzle. It's shifting from being a reactive assistant that just answers our questions to a proactive partner that actually gets things done for us. But as we're racing towards this super efficient future, we have to stop and ask a really important question. Is this perfect, optimized journey going to be accessible to all of us? And to answer that, we first have to understand the powerful engine that's driving this whole revolution. See, the technology making all this possible isn't just any old AI. It's a specific type called agentic AI, and it really represents a huge shift in how we're going to interact with machines from now on. Now, what's really fascinating about this definition is that key phrase right at the end, limited supervision. See, unlike a chatbot that just spits out an answer to your question, an AI agent takes your goal, it breaks it down into smaller steps, and then it actually goes out and acts on it in the real world. It coordinates a bunch of different actions to get the job done for you. And this slide is the perfect example of how that works. You just give it a high-level goal, something like, hey, plan a 3-day trip to Chicago for under $1,500. And from that moment on, the agent just takes over. It autonomously breaks that down, it finds the best flights, it researches hotels that match your style, it builds a daily itinerary, and it even goes ahead and makes the bookings. It's a total game changer, moving from just generating text to actually completing tasks for you in the real world. So with that in mind, let's take a look at how this technology is completely redesigning the travel experience, starting with what might just be the end of the one-size-fits-all guidebook. Yep, the top 10 things to do list is officially dead. What we have now is something called context-aware curation. The AI creates a living itinerary. So if it senses you're totally wiped out after a long flight, it might push your museum tour tomorrow and find a quiet little cafe nearby instead. It analyzes your past reviews, your photos, all to understand your personal vibe, creating a version of a city that's tailored just for you. And listen, this isn't some far-off futuristic theory. The foundations are already being laid, right now. Major players like Amazon and Expedia are already partnering up to integrate these AI assistants directly into the travel booking process. This makes that conversational, agentic experience we've been talking about a reality you can literally use today. Okay, now let's talk about the biggest stressor in travel, the what if. What if my flight's delayed? What if my bag gets lost? Well, agentic AI wants to make those questions totally obsolete through what's called preemptive logistics. So if a storm is brewing out there, the system doesn't just wait for a delay announcement. It has already rebooked you and notified your hotel hours before you even knew there was a problem. And this same powerful optimization isn't just for our convenience. It's also being aimed squarely at one of travel's biggest problems, its environmental footprint. The core idea here is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Efficiency can equal sustainability. By analyzing these massive data sets on weather, air traffic, and fuel consumption in real time, AI can find the absolute smartest ways to move people and things around the globe, all while using fewer resources and shrinking our environmental impact. But wait a second, what about the energy that the AI itself uses? Well, this is where a concept called right-sized AI comes into play. Instead of using some massive energy-guzzling model for every single little task, companies are developing smaller, more specialized models. Think of it like using a surgeon's scalpel instead of a sledgehammer. The result? Dramatically less energy consumption and a much, much smaller carbon footprint, especially when you scale it up. So, what does this actually look like in practice? Well, AI can analyze atmospheric data to find eco-lanes for airplanes, saving tons of fuel. It can gently nudge tourists away from overcrowded landmarks to protect fragile ecosystems. And now, governments are even mandating that their agencies consider the environmental impact of the AI services they buy. So far, this all sounds fantastic, right? A seamless, personalized, and greener trip. But this hyper-optimized reality has a pretty serious flip side. Because as we're finding out, efficiency doesn't always equal equity. And this right here brings us to the most critical part of our entire discussion. All this optimization and personalization sounds incredible, but who actually gets to experience this perfect trip? Regulators are already keenly aware of the potential downsides. The European Union's landmark AI Act, for example, is already sorting AI systems by their level of risk to society, from unacceptable applications that are just banned outright to high-risk ones that have to follow really strict legal rules. So here's the crucial point. The very same algorithms that optimize for efficiency can also optimize for exclusion. Hyper-precise dynamic pricing could make it pretty much impossible for lower-income families to travel during school holidays. And if the AI is trained on biased or incomplete data, it can end up reinforcing existing societal inequities. For instance, if historical travel data mostly reflects what wealthy Western tourists like, the AI might just keep recommending destinations that sideline local cultures, creating really unfair outcomes for travelers from different backgrounds. And then there's the price of admission. To get this perfect trip, you have to pay what some people are calling a data tax. You trade your personal data, your privacy, and your data sovereignty, that's your control over your own digital info, in exchange for convenience and personalization. This basically creates a two-tiered system: seamless luxury for those who are willing and able to pay with their data, and a world of analog friction for everyone else. And this trade-off is so significant that the US government has issued some pretty clear guidance. This quote from the White House makes the standard crystal clear. The benefits must meaningfully outweigh the risks, and if they don't, the technology shouldn't be used. That's a high bar, and for a very good reason. All of which brings us to the real heart of the matter. As we start handing over the logistics of travel to machines, what part is left for us to do? Because here's the thing. AI can find the most efficient path from point A to point B, but it can't feel the awe of a sunset or taste a new food for the very first time. The beauty of travel has always been in the unplanned stuff, the wrong turn that leads you to a hidden plaza, that random conversation with a stranger that completely changes your perspective. As we let these algorithms build the perfect trip, we have to make sure we leave enough room for the beautiful mess of just being human. So I'll leave you with this question. What's your choice? The perfectly optimized journey, or the freedom to get just a little bit lost?